Hey, you guys, welcome back to the Vinyl Countdown. I'm Peaches. What's up? Hey, welcome back to the show, man. That's for sure. I'm sitting here at my little easy listening lounge this morning, drinking some coffee, and I pulled out this record, Kix, Blow My Fuse. What an awesome record, right, you guys? I don't know if you have it or you don't, but it's certainly some great 80s hair metal, okay? And then I started looking at the front cover, and I'm like, this is so awesome. You see like these electrical like transformers and stuff. I'm wondering if the glare is too much for you guys right now. Let me pull it off of here. But you see these electrical transformers and lightning bolts. And then I start getting these thoughts in my head like Frankenstein movies and stuff. You know what I'm talking about? And then you start thinking, well, the Frankenstein movies, remember those old black and white films that they used to have with all the cool electrical whatnots and doodads and lightning bolts and all that stuff? And then it started triggering some even deeper thoughts. We collect all these records and stuff, and we're actually pretty into them, most of us, right? But do we ever stop and think about where it all began? Where did all of this stuff, where did all this awesome stuff come from? Where did it all start? Do you guys know? I sat here and I wondered if you guys do know about it. And I said to myself, well, why don't we ask them? Do you guys know where it all started? And then I said, why don't I try to show you guys where it all started? That's right. Peaches has a little bit of a special episode, I guess you could say, today on the Vinyl Countdown. I want to take you guys back to where all of this began. All right? So not only will it make you a great record collector, but it'll give you a little education, hopefully, about the whole history of this stuff, right? Which is going to be pretty interesting here, if I can help it. All right, so let's get started. I want to tell you guys about where all of this began with records. All right, way back in the day, man. We're talking about before you were even a thought in your great grandfather's mind. Okay, yeah. There was a guy sitting in his workshop, tinkering with a bunch of thises and that's and do-wats and all that stuff, right? Well, this guy was an inventor. He was sitting in his workshop playing around with a little machine called a telegraph, okay? Trying to figure out what was going on with this thing. And then he was having little thoughts of the thing called a telephone in his mind. You know who I'm talking about? Yeah, I'm talking about Thomas Edison. This guy was sitting in his shop, right, playing around with this telegraph, and he stumbled upon this little accident where something weird was going on with the paper in these telegraphs, and when you ran it at high speed, it vibrated and it made a sound that sounded kind of like people talking. And he started thinking and fooling around and messing around with stuff, and then he took this little cylinder thing he was working with and put a piece of tin foil on it. Yeah, the same thing as what we're talking about right here. And then he developed these little things to put little indentations into the little divots into the tin foil on this little cylinder thing, right? And in the year 1877, this guy, Thomas Edison, invented the coolest thing that the world had ever seen. And it was called the phonograph. The Thomas Edison phonograph. All right, you guys? Now you think of the year 1877. That was a long, long time ago. Okay? A long, long time ago. But it just so happens that Peaches is going to take you right back to that day. Right back to that time where that guy invented this thing called the phonograph, all right? I can't take you back to the exact day, but I can take you back to where this guy changed the world by introducing you to the Thomas Edison phonograph. That's right, you guys. This is the real deal. This is what Thomas Edison invented, And this is the product that came from that invention, along with a ton of other things in the world. All right? And none of any of this stuff that we love, called music and artists and musicians and recorded music, would ever exist without this. This was the first one, you guys. This one dates back to, from what I can tell, about 1905. And this is when they started mass producing the Thomas Edison phonograph. You can see right on the front here in this gold leaf lettering. This is a beautiful piece, you guys. This is all like, it looks to me like quarter sawn oak. It's just a beautiful piece of machinery. So like I said, I can date this one back to about 1905. All right? And this is when they started mass producing the cylinder record. And if you guys don't know what a cylinder record is, this is a cylinder record. It came in these little cardboard tubes. And I didn't mention to you guys ever, but you remember when I told you I had about 650 records? Well, I was kind of lying. I actually have like 1,000 records because I have like 300 of these. I probably have one of the biggest collections in the Midwest for cylinder record player, for cylinder records, you guys. Okay, and if you pull this out of here, you'll notice that it's shaped like a cylinder. Look at that kind of close up. And you can see it looks the same as a record, right? Well, this is where it all started. They started looking like this. And you can see it's hollow in the middle. I can look through it. All right? And then this is what he invented when it came to this machine. All right? And they were originally made out of paper and wax. And then they went to like a straight wax, and it was like a beeswax at the beginning. But then they went to a real hardened wax, which we call, you know, it evolved into what you guys call vinyl these days, all right? It was a suitable piece. So, hey. Oh, and by the way, you're wondering, Peaches, how did you get this? Where did this come from? From what I understand, I can't find my notes right now, but hopefully my dad will forgive me if I don't remember absolutely correctly. But this, I believe, was bought brand new by my great-grandfather in Detroit, Michigan. And it was passed down to my grandmother, passed down to my father, and passed down to me. So this piece from back in 1905 was purchased brand new by my family members. All right? That's pretty awesome, you guys. So yeah, I'll turn it around for you. And you can take a look and kind of see, you know, it's pretty much kind of the same all the way around. And you guys, this one is in really, really amazing shape. And you're not going to believe it, but it works. Yes, and I'm going to show you guys right now. All right, back in the day, Thomas Edison, they started a company, him, a bunch of other guys, and they all were businessmen. And they came up with this machine that was able to be pretty much semi-mass produced. So they started pumping them out the door, right? They started using them for the military, to cheer up the guys. They would send them overseas. They started using them in business for like dictation and all kinds of other things that you guys can read up about, okay? But if you're interested, go and read up on that stuff. All right, this is a spring-loaded machine. So what happens is there's a crank on this side that you crank up. Let me get the flap shut here. And you crank up this crank, and it winds up a coiled spring that drives the motor and all that stuff for this machine. All right? And here's the stylus. Okay, this is the stylus. This is a vibrating diaphragm that comes in and out of here, and it vibrates onto a stylus that I believe has a sapphire on it. Okay, and there's a 2-minute version and a 4-minute version of this. And I happen to have both styluses and both styles of records. It was a 2-minute record and a 4-minute record. Because as this thing evolved, it started getting competition out there in the world with the disc type record players and all this stuff. So they started having to come up with different things to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak, to make it a relevant item for purchase. Okay? But here, if you open up this is what holds it in. Okay, the cylinder record. And then it slides right off of here. You just open up this little door right here. And then the cylinder record, you know, There it is. There it is. So what I'm going to do is you take it out of your cardboard. You put it on the cylinder ever so carefully. And then you make sure your stylus is up on this rest right here. And then you can slide that on there. And you just get it so it's a little bit snug. And then you shut the little door. It's got like a little cone-shaped pin on there that holds that all in place. All right? You're like, well, Peach, how do you hear what's going on? Well, after you get that all done, you put your horn on there. Yeah, this thing really is the key because it's what adds all the volume to it, all right? So you put that right on your diaphragm right there. And there were several different styles of these. They had really big ones that looked like giant flowers. Let me get this this Kicks Blow My Fuse album out of the way, all right? So if we get this turned around, I wish you guys could see the top of that horn because it really makes it special. But there's the top of the horn. All right, we get that on there. I'm just hoping you guys can see this okay. I had to be a little bit shorter today in my chair. But okay, so then, like I said, you can crank it up. Usually you crank it up a whole bunch, but I try to be really careful with it because, like I said, this is a 1905, you guys. Not a 2005. All right? So then you got a little start-stop thing here, and hopefully you guys will get this going. Like I said, it's got arthritis, okay? It's old. So we'll just spin, and then you can hear the cylinder and see the cylinder start going, and then you just slowly bring that up. Drop the needle on it. The song is called Me and My Gal. Oh, she's skipping a little bit. For me and my gal. For me and my gal. Could you imagine it, guys? Way back when. Just amazing. Me and my gal. All right. Isn't that amazing, you guys? That is just awesome. So yeah, this was the first ever mass-produced device that you could listen to records on, okay? And not only could you listen to a couple of different technical styles of records on here, but you could also record on it. If you take this stylus out, I don't have the piece right now, but there was this other part called a recorder. And then you would take this is the stylus, you guys. Yeah, it's pretty heavy too. It's solid steel. So you take that out, and then you'd put something that looks just like this inside of it, or just like this, and you would reinstall it in there, and then clamp it in, and then you'd set it down, and then you'd repeat the same process as if you were playing it, and you could get an empty cylinder and record it, just like your Maxell tapes, like back in the 80s. This was your Maxell tape. You could take a brand new one of these, slide it on the machine, get it all wound up, put your horn on, and then you would talk inside of the horn. or yell or sing or play your music or whatever you did. This was the earliest known recording studio to mankind, you guys. It's so awesome. So awesome. So yeah, you put your horn on there, and then you press the button and make it start, and then you'd perform your performance or talk or do a speech or send a telegram to another guy, and then they would deliver the disc or the cylinder to another company where they could listen to what you said about business that day or whatever. You know, it was like telecommunicating without the wires. It was permanently recorded. So then you get done, take it off, and there you had a recording of yourself or this guy singing on here or songs or whatever. So okay, you guys, I was really happy that I could show this to you today. But like I said, I have about 300 records that go with this thing, and it was passed down all the way through my family since it was brand new. And it's just amazing to sit here and think about how this all came about. So where it went from this to this, you know what I'm saying? Just an amazing leaps and bounds and evolution in sound and recording. And it all started on a little piece of tinfoil. Amazing, you guys. Well, I thought this would be a great little thing to share with you guys today. And I'm glad you stuck with me here on the Vinyl Countdown for a little lesson about where it all came from. All right? Like I said, there isn't really much else to talk about but right now, because I don't want to bore you to death. But please get into your phone and Google the Thomas Edison phonograph. And you can look up the history about where all of this started and get dates and times and see how it all happened, all right? Well, thank you guys for joining me on the Vinyl Countdown. You guys have a great day, all right? We'll see ya.